When you finally got to the castle, you nearly lost yourself by trying to find the war room. You were not going to talk to your own daughter in her little palace seat. It's not your style, since you do like messing around with people. And this is not the time to mess around. But earlier it was. You needed to get to the war room. See what the condition of the world is. Why, you may be asking, this war room is so important? Well, basically the war room was made by a huge graphic magic. Another word for a map that tracks everything and anything that's going on in the world. Like in season 8. No, wrong season. Season 6, you think it was. They were going on many adventures. You think it was called the Friendship Map? Yeah. It's basically like that, but with countries and their borders being marked. Much more bigger and more detailed. It took you 5 hours to get there the last time you were here. Because that was the first time that you were in the castle. This is your 4th time. Seeing that this was your 4th time in the castle, you were not gonna let it stall you. You knew where to go and how to get there the fastest way. Walking towards a painting that you sold, knowing that it was a way to get around much more faster than anyone knows, since you did build this palace yourself. Pushing on the painting, it began to slide backwards, then to the side. You ever seen those Indiana Jones movies? The secret pathway? Well, let's just say that this pathway led to the war room. Hearing Celestia, your daughter, and Twilight complaining about why they didn't know about this, you plainly just said, without your respirator mixing up your voice, I like keeping secrets. Do you? No, you don't. They stopped talking after that. It only took you an hour and a half to get there. The only shortest path to get there without being stalled by maids or nobles. When you got to the end of the secret pathway, you pushed the button that released the door. What was in the war room when you got there? Your dark blue daughter, also known as Lulu to you. As soon as that door opened, she went at you. You know how those little raccoons when they're angry? It's like that, but it's like jumping at you. You probably still have that problems with raccoons. Father, you finally returned after all these years. No dip. Sherlock, you've been bone. You've been sent to the moon for 1,000 years, so I left. At the mention of her being banished, she went dead silent, looking at her face. That face, her cute little face, the face that you saw when she was only 5. If you could frown right now and show your emotions, you would. But the past is the past. Lulu, my little shining star, can you please get off of Daddy? She did as you said, getting off you, allowing your Magna guards to pick you back up. Walking to the center of the war room, there was a paw print waiting for you to activate it. Or your sign of magic. Did I tell you that after the 4 years you were here in the beginning, you learned how to use the Force and use magic at the exact same time? But that's another story for another day. Activating the war room's map. Multiple flags popped up. Some of them you know. Few of them you don't know. To the right, you could see the changeling's horde. Much more bigger than you were expecting, but hey, no one can be a first judge on how size compares to might. But knowing the changelings well enough that they are not good fighters, only using swarm tactics like General Grievous. You're not mentioning yourself. You are mentioning the person from the TV show. If no one knows what you're talking about, which you probably already lost your mind after 1,500 years you've been on that quest. But, hey, you gotta start somewhere. To the right, you could see Stalingrad. And you just butchered its name, mixing it with the former communist state, which held the name of Stalingrad. Stalingrad. Right above it, Nova Graphonia. Yakistan. Reminds you of a country on your old world. Right above Equestria was the Crystal Empire. In the Crystal Mountains lay the ancestral Confederate. Oh, hell no. Seems like some little princess did not heed your warning about interfering with the ancestral civil war. You are actually glad that you took the Imperialish as your apprentice, seeing that you can restore an empire that once controlled the moon, which you were not going to let them do that since your daughter, Lulu, has already mastered it. Being tapped on your hand, You look to the side to see a twilight was a quill and parchment. Such a waste of parchment, Twilight. I remember when we used to make paper. Paper was much more less expensive than what you are using. And also, should I tell you that parchment is made from animal skin? You truly don't know if it's made of animal skin or not. But there's only a few things that you do know that have not been destroyed from the ages that you've been through. Being, being nearly as old as the sisters, you start pointing to Twilight, telling her to take a seat, not wanting her to stand. It was her for hooves, since you have been walking for a while. Your Magna Guards just stand there, not needing to take rest since well, they're robots. Was it AI? You actually hope that they don't turn you like the ones in Terminator. And you just remembered one of your Magna Guards back at home is named Skynet. Damn it. You really need to rename her. Why are you saying her? Well, you thought having all male robots was not fun. So having female ones would spice things up. But instead, you got a whole bunch of complaining people. First, them acting like teenagers, then kids, then toddlers. Don't ask me what these robots' ages are. I've already lost track of them. Coming back to reality, all of them are looking at you. You take a deep breath, knowing that this may just be the worst thing that you have ever have to tell them. Alright. Celestia, Luna, my little girls. Well, not so little anymore. The war is lost for Equestria. Seeing Stalingrad is no longer under equestrian rule. This only means that our steel production that you once had is no longer viable, since that area was containing so much iron that is crucial to making steel. At the mention of steel, her eyes just went wide. At that you just told her that iron was the key ingredient of making steel. Apparently, she was not listening to you when you were teaching her how to make metals. You just frowned at her. Continuing on what you were going to say next, the Ancestral Empire. Almost all the races fear them, besides the ponies, since the Ancestrals did do trade negotiations with us. Now I have figured out that why Imperish is at my home. Now I'm gonna restore that empire if any of you come at me. I will not be happy. Near with you, Lulu. And you, Princess Sunbutt. You just had to make a remark from Anon. He can be a jackass sometimes, but hell, he's Anon. And also, basically, the war is lost. You need steel production ASAP. That was the only reason how Equestria's kept our borders the way it is today. Since our steel production has been decimated from where it once was a long time ago, it is not vital anymore to win. So, I have a solution right now. If Equestria is ordered to survive, it must take another form. Your daughter, your eldest daughter, begin to raise his eyebrow at you. Go on, father. Well, join the Confederacy. Before you go on, the Confederacy is multiple countries connected to each other. But for now, the only countries that are connected to the Confederacy is the CIS and the Dragonlands. But the Dragonlands have never been reasoned with. You can't possibly be reasonable with them, you heard Twilight say. You raise an eyebrow at her. Or if you could raise an eyebrow at her. Well, Twilight, did you solve the Ember problem? Not knowing what you were saying, you just facepalm. Knowing this, that you know how far in the series that you're in. Before you can even say more, the doors to the war room bust open with your, how you say it, great grandson in shining armor, and your granddaughter. Granddaughter, you're starting to lose your mind. Miramori Cadenza. Walking in. Shining armor. Sees your Magna Guards and took the fighting position. Not knowing that they could kick his ass even without using their magic reserve. But another figure walked in the doorway. A figure that you have not seen since the crushing defeat at Griffinstone. Not a crushing defeat to Equestria, but the Griffonian Empire in Nova Griffonia. Am I late for the party or what? You hear his voice. Or was it she, since you haven't seen him in a long time? Oh, I'm just here to kick some Gryphonian ass. There goes the voice changing of many cultures that you don't like about him. But he reminds you of your young self when you were only 10. You had the terrible Scottish accent you've been trying to accomplish back then. But no more of reminding yourself of the past. As you said multiple times, the past is the past. Only focus on the present. So what brings you here, Rex? My old commander of the 501st TAC Battalion, or secretly known as Christian Changeling Squad. Or was it regiment? Bloody... It was bloody regiment! You just want a facepalm right now. He's doing this on purpose to you. Knowing that you hate when he does multiple accents at once. When those accents are terrible as hell. Rex, my main man or woman, if you ever do that voice again, I will put you in the hole, leave you in there for 10 days with no food or water and no love at all. The smile that was plastered to Rex's face faded at the mention of that. Well, the bloody do you want now? I know that was harsh of you to say to me, but as the old saying goes, the past is in the past. You can only focus on the present, not the past. If you focus on the past, you may never proceed in the future. A big ball of green light, scaring the room, was Rex showing his true form. Or, as you like to call him, Queen Rex. A changeling? Seeing shining armor was trying to cut down your old friend, Rex. You did not allow it. Using your magic, you picked him up in the air, like Darth Vader would, but not choking him at all. You brought him close to your face, letting him see what was in your soul. The people that have tried to kill you, and all the innocents that you saw got killed because of the enemy. You could see tears running down from his face. The shock, the fear. You do not feed on it. You put him down, letting him know what he just did was wrong, without giving no vocal words. You shushed him when he tried to say something. Looking at Rex, you bow your head, and she did the same to you. Then you just pulled out the lightsaber. Your red ones. Many people may say that General Grievous never had red lightsabers. But if you would go into Legends, you would know that he did have a collection of red lightsabers. Cutting one of the legs off of Rex. Rex not showing no pain and begin laughing. You both start laughing, chuckling at most for the changeling, since he is trying to regenerate his limb that you just cut off and cauterize. You see your daughters in shock at what they just saw. You just smile at them, not saying a word, letting them look into your eyes. And what you just did to shining armor, they know not to look into your eyes. Best, Lulu knows not to look into your eyes, being on the receiving end of it when she was only 7. Or was it 8? You don't know that much, since Celestia was a 15-year-old when you arrived here. And Luna was a 5-year-old. So, does the war begin? Not yet, Rex. Not yet. But what happened to you after the war? Well, I can't say. Since I left the 501st Tank Battalion, because you left. Don't get lovey-dovey on me. You know that I can't do anything for you. What the bloody do you mean, lovey-dovey? If I ever wanted to get lovey-dovey with you, I would have a long time ago. Noticing that your family and Twilight Sparkle were still in the room as you. But you didn't give a care, since your Magna Guards knew that what you were going to do next would shock them. And Rex knew what you were doing at the look of your eyes. He didn't do nothing. Before any of them could do anything, you blacked out. The only thing that you could do or anything is hear. You just smile, and with your only thing knowing this. You are getting